Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. We can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is the 16th. My volume is a little off here. Hold on. Well, we've got an interesting market here today. Let's go straight over to the charts. They got a lot going on. So, the one that I want to highlight first here is going to go out of order here and go into oil. So there is a huge snowstorm rolling across Texas. I'm sure you have heard. And they are shutting down all of these refineries and plants and so forth. So Texas is just shut down and oil just completely took off. But since then, over yesterday and now today, it's all coming back. So we're saying similar movements over here in the indexes. Of course, big ramp last Friday, a little bit of a rise yesterday, a little bit of a rise overnight, but we're coming back. Now, I want to note that some of this downturn has also been because China is threatening to cut off United States defense companies from rare earth resources. All right. Treasuries took another kind of dive over the weekend, and yesterday were whipping around quite widely, and then today overnight a pretty strong move down and hard snapback. So here markets are just all over the place. Silver and gold taking a pretty good dump today for no apparent reason. Copper continues to hold. Probably from the demand from China. So it seems like maybe this China stuff is part of the driver. You can see here the dollar just snapping back really, really hard here. So I am expecting that we will have a turbulent and confusing day is what I'm seeing from the market already. And you can see here, since the open in the treasuries already, right? Already moved down quite a bit here. Let's see here. I don't need that. Why is that there? I guess another thing I want to point out is that some of the most shorted stocks are up at the moment. GameStop up at 0.5%, AMC up 7%. BlackBerry down, but Bed Bath & Beyond up. Banks are moving up because of the treasury spreads, although I'm sure they were probably up quite a bit more than that. Small tech's still outperforming. Tesla's doing okay. I would have thought that rare earth resources, I guess they don't trade pre-market. I'm expecting them to just jump. I think that we should get at least a 10% jump out of them if this China news is what's really roiling the markets here. Well, let's turn on the text-to-speech here. George Goncalves. Oh, and wait, why exactly are rates rising again? Fiscal stimulus. Fed embracing inflation. NIRP, global bonds and pain. All of the above. Oh, wow. Hey. Fed's bullard on Bitcoin. You don't want to go with a non-uniform currency. Okay, I don't know what that means. Okay, so coming back here, Owen asked, I'd like to know your suggestions at this time. So not much in terms of like what hardware. So that video I intended to be kind of like a more general, okay, here's what you should look at based on the current hardware. But not a whole lot has changed since then. So except for that some things have gotten cheaper. So for instance, I still think that the Ryzen 3600 is a great CPU and it's pretty inexpensive right now. You know, you don't need to get a nice GPU, so you can just get like 1650s. Or frankly, you can go and you can get the really cheap ones. What do the horizontal lines represent? I'm not. Are you talking about on this chart over here? I have. Maybe you were talking about. No, that can't be it. Maybe you were talking about on my volume profile charts. These. That's the amount of volume that was traded in those locations. So one of the things that we want to point out is that the last like liquidity hole that we had was like down here. There was a little bit of liquidity that traded in through this area, but like through here they came back up. There's a lot that is traded back in this area, so that, you know, in copper for instance, that's the key spot. I guess it doesn't really matter on that one. What we really care about is the S&P 500. So you can see 39.51 is kind of where they got stuck, and we're below that right now. So it could turn down. I don't know. When I look at this, if we were to turn down, I think that you could get some pretty ugly downside movement, right? Yes, the robots are turned on. I'm just curious about the horizontal lines, not familiar. Yeah, it must have been the volume profile. So the reason we use volume profile is because it tells us by price which prices traded the most. And that tells us something about liquidity and demand. Because with us as market makers, it always comes down to the liquidity versus the market orders. So I tend to think of, or whatnot, you can tend to think of liquidity as the market makers. These are the people that don't necessarily know what's going on, but they were going to have, you know, orders at every price. And then there's the people that are trading off of a specific catalyst or pattern, and those are going to be the informed traders. So when I look at this, I'm kind of looking to see, okay, where did they transact? Yesterday, not a whole lot of volume, right? Yesterday, not a whole lot of volume because it was a holiday. But the day before that, you can see there was a lot. They kind of got stuck here, but then ultimately they pushed up, and then there was a little bit of it. There was some distribution right here. Okay, so they got out. This was where they took their exits and they kind of agreed. Okay, but this one isn't necessarily that they agreed. This was just kind of like where they got stuck and they spent so much time there that they traded a lot of volume. So that's why kind of when I'm coming up and I'm looking at this, I'm gonna see that like there's this spot here, and then there's this spot here, and then there's this huge jump down, right? So you could do something like this. Oops, I'm not even showing you. Right, because I'm looking where the volume had traded, because the theory is that this area right here, that there wasn't a lot of liquidity and there was a lot of demand. So when this came up, it was all market orders hitting, and the market makers, the liquidity providers, pulled their orders and let it pop up. So will they let that do it on the way down too? It's possible. But that's an area we're going to be looking at to see has the liquidity there changed? Okay, now we're getting some news coming in here. Empire State Manufacturing Index, we're expecting a 6, it's 12. So that's good. That's actually really, really good. Oh, what is your clear time interval for Treasury's bid-ask depth? Don't get the same number on your jigsaw? Yeah, so I am using the default, actually, which is 2.5 seconds. Clear trades timer interval. 2.5 seconds. I use a longer one for my S&P 500 over here. Not that one, this one. This S&P 500, I'm using 10 seconds. A lot of people in the treasuries will use 10 seconds. But for me, especially in the treasuries, I'm interested in every time it clears how many contracts it took. There's other ways for me to see the overall volume that traded, so I don't pay attention to that so much. Pierrick, how are you? Forever, do you trade GC? It's been good to me since the beginning of the year. Well, so I don't day trade the metals, no. So gold and silver in particular have can be a little fickle. And they're not very liquid. So there's kind of some issues with trading that as with a tiny account, you know, because the chance for slippage is really, really high. Oh, great. IBM will procure 75% of the electricity it consumes worldwide from renewable sources by 2025 and 80% by 2030. So it's kind of been interesting watching this, because apparently a lot of the power outages in Texas has been because they rely so much on renewable energy sources. Good vid on. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that video is turning out, because it's getting a good amount of views now. At least it's above average. I wouldn't say that it's like hitting it out of the park per se, but it seems like search is picking it up. I don't know if I got the best thumbnail for it, unfortunately, but it's going okay. Let's see here. How many has it had? 250 so far. It's just a little bit. It's running just a little bit above. And I'm getting a good amount from search too. That's what makes me happy. Let's see here. If I come in and I do reach, what's the impressions click-through rate? I really wish the impressions click-through rate was more like 10%, but that's okay. And yeah, there was a lot that needed to be said. Okay, so we're after that news hit, they kind of looked like maybe they would go up, and now they're coming down. So this is kind of looking like okay, we waited for the news, and now that we saw the news come out, we're going to go and do what we were going to do anyways. The 6E is just careening down. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Let's see here. Some volume coming into treasuries. Are treasuries going to take off here? Well, that's a lot of volume. a lot of liquidity for them to be holding at 05. I guess I shouldn't say it's a lot, but Recall Newsom campaign reaches 1.5 million threshold. Yeah, the earns of treasury went pretty good there. Not hitting into 06 though. It's like coming in the 5-year though. Look at that. Yeah, uptick. Now they're hitting into 18 3/4. I'm surprised that the market makers in the 5-year aren't pulling off of that, because that just looks like a steam train. Palantir's stock. Oh, we should add them on today. What do you think? I think that some of these that we don't really need anymore, yeah? So let's manage this list. Add and remove. No, not that. Want to edit the watch list. And what should our oil stocks one be? Well, we'll have to think about that. We'll replace BlackBerry with Palantir. Wow, yeah, down 10%. Palantir's stock drops after surprise loss, although revenue beat expectations. Okay. Those two statements seem contradictory to me. After the data integration software company reported a surprise fourth quarter loss, although revenue rose more than forecast. I see. So their costs were too high. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that one today. And you can see here up first Majestic Silver, like they had a pretty good move up over the weekend, but now it's coming back. I bet you that they come back quite a bit, in fact. Unless the dollar and the euro here stabilize. Okay, somebody hit into us at 06. That's good. Take that off. Maybe it continues, but I was just seeing that there was some liquidity stabilizing around 06 and 06 half, so I thought, why not? This thing could just keep running, though. Look, well, so they're going to come back and hold 06 now, huh? Okay, so we're getting a little bit of a hole here now. Yeah, and then 05 half bulls. Yeah. I'm happy with that one. Look at that. I called that one almost perfect. I'm quite surprised now that the treasuries are pushing down as aggressive. Look at that. The buy side market makers just completely pulled out of the way. So there is a real, okay, interesting. So the market makers look really skittish here. And you know what? I don't blame them. And the E-mini there pushes to new lows. Did those two things, did those just happen together? They did. This does not look good. Oh, does Futures Trader 71 have a Range Rover? So no 4000 ES today? Well, I should never say never, but at the moment it certainly doesn't look good, does it? Alligator says big gap RE Friday. Bears in danger. Guess they can push back. What do you think of Ross, the red-headed stock trader? Well, it does appear that he is being honest about whether he's making or losing money. I do not believe that his results are very you could replicate his results. Is what it looks like to me. And it appears to me that some of it is that people follow him and he makes money off of that. Well, I didn't really get a very good short over here in the E-mini. I could have held that one that I originally took. Brandon is still short. Brandon is short. Jay's not doing so hot. So when I go over there and I look at Jay and Jay's struggling a little bit, that's usually a warning to me that this is a market that's pushing down. See, the issue I have here is like, do you want to buy the low? Or sorry, sell the low. Man. My stomach needs to re-equalize, I guess. Did you see that Bitcoin was above 50? Yes, it did. So we'll pull it over here. So you know what? There is something I should say about Bitcoin that I forgot. Oh man, we should make this go way further back, huh? Like it's 10 days, and we should have it like go back 90 days. Okay. So which was it? Over here, there was a pretty good drop in Bitcoin. And Zero Hedge was like, it was a massacre and all of this sort of stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's not really a significant move. And even this move up isn't necessarily significant. I mean, it's still kind of flagging, you know. Oh, let's draw that a little better. Still kind of flagging, you know. Still kind of doing this channel sort of thing. It seems to me like that the narrative in Bitcoin remains intact, and the narrative is that large companies are coming in and are going to start buying Bitcoin. So I made a post about this on TikTok that actually was doing pretty well, and I don't know why, but all of these companies want Bitcoin, but it seems to me that they're just speculating with everybody else. So they're all putting it into Bitcoin Trust is the big corporate, service, and Bitcoin Trust holds and manages it for them. So I kind of wonder, how did Tesla do it? Did they go through Bitcoin Trust? Are they holding it themselves? Who's managing it? Because don't you find it incredibly odd that a technology that was built so that you didn't have to have intermediaries, it's something built to eliminate banks and all of these sorts of things, and companies feel the need to pay somebody to manage it for them instead of just managing their own wallets? It's the whole thing is just a freaking mess, man. It's all speculation. Nobody's actually using it. And this presents some really big problems. And the funny thing is that even though nobody's really actively using it, people are still transferring coins between exchanges and cold wallets and stuff, right? And that alone is stressing the blockchain out. Ethereum right now is practically unusable because of the congestion. So I don't know how far this goes. They really want 100,000, and sometimes when the market really wants something, it kind of happens anyways, even though everything that I look at says that they're really dangerous levels right now, and they're unlikely to be able to make it to that price. So I don't know, but you can see here MSTR continues to Goldman Sachs launches an investing app for customers that want to put at least $1,000 to work. When Musk says left, you go left and you'll know afterwards. Oh, I don't have freaking Bloomberg. Come on, this is important information I need to know. Goldman Sachs will offer its investing know-how to the masses. Oh, yes. Goldman Sachs investment advice no longer for the super rich. Prestigious investment bank I'm reading from CNN. Known mainly for advertising the affluent out to manage their money. Oh, stop that. You didn't hear that, but known mainly for advising the affluent how to manage their money and for helping to engineer deals on Wall Street, unveiled a new robo-advisor Tuesday for the average investor. Marcus Invest, an offshoot of the company's Marcus retail banking arm, will let Goldman Sachs customers buy exchange-traded funds with as little as $1,000. Goldman Sachs will not be recommending specific stocks, though, even as Robinhood, Webull, and other online brokerages have become blah, 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 blah. Marcus Invest seems to be geared more towards passive investors looking to plan for retirement or other long-term goals as opposed to active traders on the Reddit Wall Street Bets board. Marcus Invest said that it will monitor portfolios daily and automatically rebalance accounts to keep them on track with longer-term goals. Is that gonna move them up today? Well, they're up 1.36%. But the yield was kind of helping them too. I don't know if the yield is helping them anymore, though. That dollar has not turned back yet, by the way. I always knew Goldman was a good guy. Well, listen, they're doing it because they needed to diversify. Don't get me wrong. I really like the company. I work for them. I still hold the stock that they gifted me. I plan on holding it for a long time because I think that overall they're a pretty great company. The thing that's so interesting about Goldman Sachs, when you go there, the thing about their culture that they stress the most is that they believe their reputation is important. Their whole thing is that they want to be perceived as the most elite, best bank for their customers, and that part of their brand is like the most important part of their brand. And so to go in and do something dishonest or, break the law or something like that is very, very contrary to their corporate culture. And you get a lot of, like the whole thing when they got hit after the 2008 crisis, that really caused a lot of turmoil in the firm because it hit at the heart of how they perceived themselves. It really did. Like, it was so funny, this thing coming out, because everybody was like, oh, you guys at Goldman, they're just rich people looking to take advantage of everybody, and they're evil. And then everybody in Goldman Sachs was like, but no, we're the good guys. We're the ones that did the things that we were supposed to, and we're really good to the community and all these things. It was like, so then they turned around and they said they needed to diversify. So they said, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to diversify by getting more retail banking, which I believe there could be a lot of growth for them in the future from that. But anyways, that's kind of the weird thing, right? Do you see 100K or 20K first? So that's a tough call because from like just a pure like sentiment and order flow direction and everything else like that, I think it's a really tough call because you're kind of in the middle of those two things. I believe that they will sputter out before that. But who knows? I mean, the issue that you got here on this market, like, think about it, man. Congress is talking about a stimulus bill and how we need to have this stimulus bill or the economy is going to fall apart. Meanwhile, do you know an asset that is down? Can you think of a single asset that is down right now? Aside from the dollar, I guess. And I mean, the dollar is still actually, frankly, a little bit higher than what it was before the pandemic. So, like, man, it's just like, the whole thing is just crazy, right? And so I don't see that dynamic changing anytime soon. And I think that dynamic is playing into the Bitcoin thing to some extent. There's a lot of money out there that people want to put to work, and they decide that they're going to put it to work in Bitcoin because they think that you can't put it to work in the dollar, of course. And then it's like, okay, but the whole investing thesis that you guys are playing off of in Bitcoin is objectively false. Bitcoin is not a usable technology. The block size has limited it. You can't transfer it. It's the whole thing is just crazy to me. Can I open a bank account? It sounds like you can open up an investment account with them and you can do passive investing. So I wonder if that means that we can, like, I can open up my IRA there. If I could open up an IRA there, and I will do it. These new highs in the ME, you must mean MES, are discussing it on Goa traders from the 80s and the 2000s aren't crapping their pants. Well, here's the thing is that this bubble is fundamentally different from those bubbles, right? The 2000 crash wasn't caused by excessive monetary stimulus, right? The news story for the past 10 years has been that when the money is easy, you will get volatility spikes, but that ultimately you should just buy the dip and you'll make tons of money, right? And that's what they're trading off of. And you got monetary stimulus coming out. Nobody wants to fight that. So I don't think that the 2000 crisis really is a good analog at all, because the 2000 crisis was really just purely speculation, right? The 80s crisis was kind of a little bit of a different thing, because that I think involved more the markets balancing after the robots coming in, essentially. So what would be a fair comparison? Well, I think that if you're looking at concerns over inflation, you really have to look into the 70s, right? Isn't injection into equities, whether from the stimulus or retail fervor, essentially the same money in bubble up? Not necessarily. So the difference is that if it's retail speculation, then the retail players put all of their money in, and then when there's no more money to put in anymore, they get stuck and people start selling, and then, slowly the people that bought up at the top, they're underwater, they sell, and it just kind of goes down the line because everybody's in, right? But if we're getting inflation, if it's because of excessive monetary stimulus, then right now would be the worst time to try and sell and go short, wouldn't it? Because they're going to get more money. And there's more money that they're going to put into the markets that hasn't arrived yet. A lot. Like you need to realize that some of these middle class families are going to be having like between $10,000 and $20,000 to put into the markets, right? And I think you'd have to be stupid not to be wanting to put it somewhere where you can get a return from it. Man, I feel like maybe I drank too much water or something. I feel like really bogged down. Okay, Treasuries, by the way, did make a slightly higher high and pushed up to the high of the day, and now you got a pretty good stack at 06 and some liquidity holding at 06 half. Like that looks reasonable if you were to get filled. Volcker put out a warning like a week before his death. Well, here's what concerns me. When I go out and I ask the question, will the stimulus put too much money into the markets? And I see a bunch of people saying yes, and I see a bunch of people saying no. And the surveys actually are pretty close. Slightly more people think yes than no, but it's like 55-45, okay? These are like the smart asset manager surveys, right? But the thing that bothers me is that, Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen both say that the risk of not doing enough is more. Okay. What numbers and information do you have to make that statement? Can you walk us through your model and how much money is going to be put into work on what you think is going to happen? And then there's no such thing. They don't have that. But then when I go to the people that say, it's going to be too much, and then they start going through numbers. This is how much money is going to be put into the stimulus, and there's this and that and all these things, and this is why it's going to be too much money. And I kind of go, right? Kind of concerns me that way. But yes, you would really have to go back to like the early 70s to really find a comparable market. And even then, it's only comparable because we had inflation. It wasn't necessarily because of monetary stimulus. Have we really ever truly had a market in the United States where things were going up because of monetary stimulus? I don't think we do. I can think of other times, like for instance, in Germany. In Germany, they put a lot of money into their economy on like public works projects and stuff. And it was part of why their the economy jumped up so much before the war, even though it was probably kind of like a mirage. So you kind of look at this sort of thing and it's like, well, it seems like that after the stimulus stops, that it'd be bad. But we don't really have a direct analog. So ask yourself how all that cash that is at the bank will make its way into the real economy. Are loans the only real vector? Well, I think that's a little bit different, Etherator. Because now you're talking about when the Federal Reserve keeps rates low, what impact does that have on the real markets? People think that means that people go out and directly buy stocks with that money. That's not how it works. But what it does do is it allows them the liquidity to perform operations that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do. Economic activity that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do. So it kind of generates economic activity on its own. But here, what they're doing is they're directly giving people money. And some people do need it to live, I guess. I read this thing that there was like, this $1,400 stimulus will sustain some people through to May or something like that. And this is how many people it will save and stuff. And I was like, wow, is there really that many? And that would be enough? Like what? Because it seems to me like that for the people that are suffering, that amount of stimulus won't do a darned thing.
Block by.
But then that just comes back to when you do the numbers, people have made more money from the government giving them money back than they have lost from the pandemic overall. Like the country as a whole, yeah. They have increased the amount of money in the market. No question about it. From the numbers that I've seen. So again, there's not really a very good direct comparison. Have you seen that, Doc? Or no, why are you talking about that? Oh, excess water is toxic. Wow. My mouth is just kind of really clicky today for some reason. Main scenario is reflation. Yeah. So I'm kind of looking at this one and thinking, well, I don't like the way that they're playing around with these levels. So if I was to be in a trade, I think that I would rather be in from lower. Ooh, look at that long that Joseph took there. Good pick. Ooh, and Brandon did get his winner. Did Indy? I thought Indy took one. Maybe not. Because he says 0. I guess Indy hasn't taken one yet. Good morning, Ace. Taking money from the government is like slavery. So the thing that's really difficult is like, so what do you do with it all? So like, think about this. Everybody's getting money from the government. You want to invest it because you think that the price of everything is going to go up, right? But then if the prices of everything goes up, we're going to enter into a spiral inflation environment, and then the Federal Reserve is going to have to come in, increase rates, and let all of the inflation out and all of this stuff, right? So where do you put the money? And you say, well, you could put it into stocks, but then, you know, you'll make money in the short term on stocks, but then overall you're going to lose some, right? I don't know. And so then you're like, okay, well, let's put it into gold too. And it's like, yeah, but the price of gold is going to be like spiking up and eventually it's going to come out. Like you're really looking at a situation where it's like, it doesn't matter what you put it into. If the inflation scenario plays through, you're going to suffer just like everybody else when it crashes. You know what I mean? Like, where can you actually hide? And this whole thing is like, treasuries are a place that you can hide. Gold and silver are places that you can hide oftentimes. But because of what they're doing, it's destroying all safe havens. So there won't be anywhere to hide. You're just going to, well, we're all going to lose it. You're going to put all of that money into the markets, and then even if you got out up at the top, you're going to lose it because the dollar will just... Gold. Well, no, because gold has been spiking and taking off because of all of the people coming in. So, of course, when the inflation peaks, it's going to come back down hard because it's speculation. An ounce of crack will hold its worth. There you go. Okay, so we're seeing a pretty good recovery here in ES. I'm kind of wondering, I haven't seen Ace say that he was going to take a trade. When it peaks, sure, because they're going to have to, it'll reach 3% and then they'll turn around and increase rates. Probably quite hard. It's not going to last forever. You think that it's just going to be inflation for the next 10 years? I don't know. I think I would probably rather be in stocks, but... So then you kind of got this thing like, I would rather be in stocks, but then I guess you should probably have some defensive names, right? But then they're underperforming, so it's like... I guess you just kind of have to have a balanced portfolio and hope it works out. I'm surprised that they haven't ended up trading more volume here through 05 half, because it does seem just, this whole area here seems fickle. And yes, the gold does go down, man. Look at it. Come back over to a chart like this. Golds. At many critical junctures, gold has seen significant declines. They had like a really good run there towards in the fall, And then since then, it's kind of gone sideways. And every time that it seems like it should, like there's a little bit of like scariness and like maybe people would flee into gold. Nope, they sell. Like today, it's a little scary today, but gold is going down. Where are they going instead? They're going into the dollar. And look at the dollar today. It's just whoosh. I need a better way to keep track of my robots. How can I do this? You just don't have room. Well, that's going back to January. Do I have one? I guess I don't really have one for going all the way back to like the big drop. Okay, so that's interesting. Well, it looks like I'm not able to save that. Let's go back to 2000. No, I don't think that that's relevant to what we're talking about. I think if you're talking about the new reflationary environment, you want to go back to this past March. I mean, we could go back to 2000, but then what will you see? There was a really big rise because people were concerned about inflationary concerns because of the banks printing a lot of money. And then it turned out to be nothing, and they sold it all. It came back all the way back, and then it's taken another run since the pandemic. Zero Hedge says 10-year yields now at 1.25%. Now what? You saying maybe you'll go short here? Well, I definitely see it. They seem a little reluctant there. All right. Trump regains standing in hypothetical GOP primary matchup. Oh, man. Trump, Pence, Haley, Jr., Mitt Romney. Oh, Mitt Romney has dropped pretty hard. Actually, that's interesting. His rise has come at the expense of guys like Ted Cruz and Mitt Romney. Nikki Haley doing slightly better. Mike Pence doing slightly worse. You got 943? Aw. Okay, well. Over here in Treasury, he's like, look, they dumped me back down and now I want to buy it again. Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me about the Yada thing. Oh, I made like $10 on my tickets last week in Yada. So thank you guys for that. If you don't have a savings account, that Yada is a great way. It's fun, and it's like, it's basically they're paying you to use it, right? I mean, yeah, you have to put your money into their savings account, but it's still your money, so I think it's a great setup. Okay. So there's some liquidity here at 40 I'm wondering about. Dollar's still not backing off here. Joseph. Oh, no, that was the profit target. So this is something that I find really weird. Is like, look at it. Almost 2 ticks perfect. It's just too close. Oh, it was just a little close. Now it says that I took one in Indy. Oh, these are all in. Okay, that only shows me Brandon now. This one I have to. There you go. Okay, so there's Indy is taking one here. And that move right there is. Maybe just be too close to the open to do anything. I don't know. While we're at it, we should pull up CoinMarketCap here. Yeah. Tired of you, to be honest. I think that you're so lame. Okay. Let's come over to our watch list. Let's see here on the 24 hours. Oh, Bitcoin's only actually up 1.8% over the past 24 hours. Dogecoin trying to make a little bit of a run here too. I've had enough snow here to fill a winter wonderland, and I closed my refinance yesterday. Oh, good job. Wait, what rate? You still got the good rate too. That's funny. Is that like in the time that since you got your rate and now it's kind of come back a lot, huh? I guess it was maybe just a little late, but either way, it's still a great rate, huh? Oh, don't try and convince her to start a trading account. Well, maybe a sim account, but it seems my take is I never want to encourage somebody to pick up trading. If you insist on doing it, and you pass all of the tests and you're still around, then maybe that's something that you truly want to do, and we'll work at it. You know what I mean? But mortgage company fired my team in the middle of the refinance, and it took me forever to close. You came in at 2.5. That's better than I got. It's on my list now. Oh, there you go. Although certainly if you're not like investing, so like if you're not paying into your 401k or your IRA or any of those, I guess maybe for you it's a slightly different kind of story, huh? Is Bitcoin just software that has a loyal following? Yeah, I think so. Clubhouse. Have you guys seen these? Have you guys tried Clubhouse? So I haven't tried it. Apparently, you have to have an invite to use it, and they're pushing it like the new big social media network. But it sounds to me like it's basically just Discord. Like you can come in, you can join a room, and then you can listen. And most rooms are one person is talking, and you listen to that one person talking. Like I don't get. Ooh, what was that at 03.5? Big stack at 03.5 there. And then he kind of went away. Yeah, you got out. I got out when I was actually, so like I got in the same as you, but I got in later, right? And when I got in and we got a little bit and I was kind of late, then I looked at it and I was like, it's not, the setup isn't pure. So when it came back up through, I reversed. Yeah, I have not heard of Clubhouse drop in audio chat. Yeah, I just don't get. It's really weird to me. Everybody's like, "Oh, Clubhouse, the new big thing. You gotta get in on." There's nothing different about it. It's from the description. It's like I could do that in Discord. Why should I jump over to this network? And then people were talking about how like TikTok is like the new Instagram, and Instagram is the Facebook, and Facebook is the MySpace, and MySpace is the, was okay. So what's the new TikTok? And they were like Clubhouse, and I was like, but it doesn't do anything different. Wow, Milwaukee Airport has recorded a snow depth of 22 inches. This is the deepest snow depth recorded in Milwaukee since 2001. Oh, that doesn't seem like that long ago to me. I remember 2001. Yeah, there was some snow. Well, so far it still kind of feels like a quiet day, huh? At the moment, it feels kind of quiet, even though early on we've seen a lot of movement. Well, the E-mini is kind of threatening that they're just gonna smash out of here, right? Hello, Anon, how are you? Welcome back. Well, that 03 half, they traded into it a little bit, but so far it has held. So there is the liquidity there looking to hold it. But if the E-mini takes off here, then the treasuries are certainly going to get slaughtered there, right? Need to stop clicking that pen. Why am I doing that? Do something quiet over here. All right. Actual quote from a Pennsylvania GOP official explaining why Toomey should be censured. We did not send him in there to vote his conscience. We did not send him there to do the right thing or whatever. Well, yes, you did. This the funny thing about representatives, isn't it? It's kind of this dichotomy, because I believe the reason a representative government works is because they know some things. They're in that position to be the best decision makers for us. But we are supposed to vote what we want them to do, and if they don't do what we want them to do, or you have every right to vote them out. And there's kind of always going to be at odds. Are you really thinking about taking that short? Well, I guess it is coat, but even if it wasn't close to the open, don't you think that that's a little... Well, maybe you're looking at something else. Hey, where did my... Well, whatever. About a minute and a half here to go. That was a little scary. Sell here before the open. Okay, so with a little bit of a jump ahead of the open. And now opening up along about 1,000 contracts, actually. Any thoughts about this XRT? Oh, I would completely ignore that bullshit. Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. So there was somebody posting on Wall Street Bets this morning being like, well, there's still some shorts, but how can we get them out? And what about this retail ETF and all of this and that? Like, in my opinion, the GameStop squeeze is over and there's no reason to pay attention to it anymore. Of course, there will probably be little moves here and there. You notice that there's still people trying to pump it up and buy it and so forth. And like there's demand still there. But the short squeeze, it happens. It's done. Wall Street Bets is going nuts to find something. Yeah, and it's kind of funny. You're getting a lot of people making really long, seemingly analytical posts that have no clue what they're talking about. It's like all you need to do is look at the S3 data and then the FINRA numbers and see that the short's covered and that it's over. But there's still people trying to go long. But it's just like, that's where it's like, yeah, you'll probably see some good runs in Jamie, but like you see this one right here, right? They had a good run in the morning on last Friday, and then by the end of the day, they had given most of it up again. And you're probably going to see a lot of that. Who was cooked on his short? Well, it was mainly Melvin that got destroyed on the short in GameStop, right? Okay, so it's still long, but there has been excursions in price on the short side, so they're not completely decided, let's say. Saw a post on Wall Street Bets recently. A guy said in the disclaimer it was based on the due diligences he had paid 2 Indian analysts on Fiverr to write. What the heck? Okay, so is the kind of pushing the bottom side of this now. Some stops, yeah. It's still not coming out in volume, but So take a look at the volume that we're seeing right now. This is two sides that want to trade it into each other. When it's just sitting there and you get a lot of volume, that's not necessarily agreement. That's like they have no choice. This is the open. They both want to take it. The bulls have a slight advantage in numbers still. And even though the bulls made a pretty good excursion there. Sorry, did I say the bulls? The bears made a pretty good excursion there, but it looks like the bulls still have the advantage. Are you going to push that high now? Not quite. Still two sides here, huh? Well, the treasuries don't seem to be giving me any sign of like being afraid. Look at that. Whoa. News Squawk has a tweet out with the Oprah. You get a record high. You get a record high. Oh, you all get a record high. By the way, where did our rare earth resources 3.5% up? That's not as much as I would hoped it that it would be, but So there's a good amount of volume trading there between 42 and 43, right? Hmm. Looks like they're gonna get me. Yep. Hmm. Hmm. So you're still getting like these buy spikes in here? But they don't really hold very long, do they? It's like it comes in and now like they're right back down to where they were. Hmm. Is it going to be that they just get that one excursion and then it's... No, I shouldn't have covered. Well, there is some support there, but there's definitely some support there. There's just a lot of volume overall. I'm like over trading here. Let's hold on. If someone pays you to do due diligence that says GameStop is going to go to the moon, what else are you supposed to write? Yeah, I don't know. I just, anything that Wall Street Bet says about GameStop right now, I just ignore them because the trade is over. No, I went short because I saw that break there, but I see a lot of volume trading and action that looks like it's like, you know, gonna go really hard one way and then it doesn't. See? It looks like it's a difficult market. Like it looks like the liquidity providers are getting flattened either both ways. Hmm. Bloomberg really pushed the higher yield story this morning? Hmm. Well, looks like they're going to pump the high. Yeah, they're kind of like kissing it, but it's not going. Even though the volume definitely came on the way up. Interestingly enough, I didn't take a lot of trades. I still got one that's long from 46. How is that possible? Well, I don't know what happened. Joseph must not be synced. I think that he would have like stopped out or something. I wonder, did it give me a Ninja script output message? Hmm. Okay. So there's the high. Didn't break through yet. You're gonna have to look at that big old order at 39.47. How long has that been there for? Oh, that's been there since the open. And this area at 45 is where there was like a big offer. It was like a 400 lot. But you notice here, it's not that the buyers can't push through. It's that they all of a sudden they get skittish there. Like buyers are willing to buy all the way up to 44 and then they disappear. What's the chance of going through the VWAP from here? You mean below us at 71? Guess it depends on which VWAP you're talking about. Mine resets, so. At the moment, if we are to buy, if this turns into a buy, I think that we get up to like 39.58 or so. You got one at 46. Well, they got to get through that 45 first. You can see, so some buyers did come in. There was some sell side liquidity there. They broke the high by a tick, but you can see there was sellers there. Well, it looks like silver and gold are trying to stage a recovery here, but they're not really digging it out. I don't know. And here, the E-mini, there's definitely some buy-side demand. They weren't able to push through the 45 that time. That might have been enough that if they get back up there again, they should be free to ride. But for now, it looks like they're going to do a slight pullback. Hmm. So you can see it on this tick chart. All the buying come up and they just ran into a wall there. I'm going to move this over to here. I'm going to move things to where they usually are, because I don't need to see the stocks directly at the moment. Treasuries are a little bit higher at the moment. CJ has a high. Nervous Nelly. I don't blame him, man. It's been the index has been a little mean today. I feel, don't you think? Because I bet it was a real battle at the open. It looks like the sellers won out, but like as soon as the sellers got their move, they covered and buyers came in, and then buyers came in and hit a wall. It looks like buyers might be trying again here. Trying to catch a runner today might be a way. Yeah, I don't know. Like what's been happening lately is there'll be a liquidity area that are able to get through it and then they'll sputter out. So I bet you that so if that pattern continues, I shouldn't say I bet you, but if that pattern continues, what'll happen is they'll break out here at 39.46 and come back down. There's this huge order at about 47 though. When I get stopped out with one tick profit, I always been known not taking the 2 points. There's definitely some like upside targets if they're gonna. At the moment, given so here's the thing. One thing I'm thinking is when we came in, remember we were saying, well, the structure below us, it doesn't look very good. But the way that we've behaved on the open and off of that first short excursion and everything says to me that at the moment they're not looking for the all out, we're going to go short trade. That one's not materializing. And probably we would need a headline for it to happen. So, but there could be like some revisiting of levels and stuff like that. On the upside, though, I kind of see, some spots above us that this could run for a little bit. So we'll see. That's the bearishness isn't just giving up, right? But usually when they're going to do that, it's like right out the gate, it's short and it just, nothing stops them. And you got to remember that with equities in particular, that when we're going to fall, it's going to be a lot of liquidity pulling. And that's definitely not been the case. They want the buys. Yeah, and it does look like Brandon stopped out there. Which is unfortunate because he got a pretty good short earlier. You can see Jay has made back his losses. That one was a really good one right there. These took opposing sides. Of course, Indy loses. Well, the volume still looks slightly bullish, but again, they're sputtering out. There's like too much. There's not enough of them up here. Kind of turns into this sort of a thing. Interesting that there's so much more volume up in the 42 area, though. So when I look at like upside targets, it's like, oh, they're definitely there. But then like it seems like it would be a real pull to get them up there. So that going to take Brandon short again? Fake news about Texas wind power? I bet you there probably is a lot of disinformation about that. I was seeing stuff about how a lot of the problems in Texas were because of renewable energy, but I also think that a lot of the problems are because their power lines can't handle ice on them. Like, there's probably a lot of problems over there. Bloomberg poll, stablecoins will replace Bitcoin as the premier crypto asset for institutions. Okay. So buy DAI, I guess? That was quite the excursion. Does this flip back up? If we flip back up above 43? Okay. This will be mighty interesting if they're able to flip back out the top here. That is between me and the IRS. I feel like we're just kind of grumpy today, Ace, aren't we? I feel kind of grumpy. If you're new here today and we seem mean, maybe we're just grumpy. Okay, well, we did beat out that downturn. It was much slower than the downturn did, but the downturn had almost no volume on it. So, like, I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's getting a little wild over here. Some people on Twitter, Ethereum is useless at this point. dApps can't work. Yep. Myanmar military vows to hold an election and hand power to the winning party. Okay. That seems kind of weird, but okay. Makes you wonder what makes the Myanmar military so confident that the election they already had wasn't any good. But maybe that's because they plan on rigging it in their favor or something. This Green New Deal not working out so well today with this cold front. Well, I tell you what, this cold front definitely raises some interesting questions, but I think that we should let the news play it out first, because probably the initial stories that we're going to get on this is going to have a lot of misinformation in it, right? I do think that a winter storm like that brings up a lot of questions, especially like apparently they were relying a lot on wind power and the windmills couldn't work in the cold. That was the one that I heard. But the question is how much of it is actually, I think that the argument that you're going to hear is people are going to say, oh, they're using this to trash renewable energy, but all of the really big problems were, on the power lines or the infrastructure side. And, Judge says Citigroup cannot recoup roughly $500 million it mistakenly played Revlon lenders. Oof. Okay. Okay, so you see here the volume. There's been a little bit of a downturn in volume now. So I'm going to go flat here. I'm going to be a little bit more selective here, but maybe I will switch over to my more serious account now. Wow, the blizzard cut U.S. oil output by 2 million barrels. It seems like the buy side liquidity below 40 is still there. Yeah, right now I'm trading it on demo. I have a couple of different demo accounts, so that one where I was adding a bunch of contracts was like a screw around demo account. So what I'm will often do is feel it out first. You seem awfully concerned about other people's positions, Plums. It's not what we're about. Wouldn't I don't want people to follow me. Oh, I forgot that previous post could be flagged. I understand what you're saying now. What is the best trading? Drink water. There you go. Okay, so that one's not going to work out. Oh. I love watching someone who fights the market, but can you really? Well, the market is fighting everybody today, don't you think? Demo's good in that it keeps you more focused in practice and trading all conditions. Well, there's definitely some. So when we look at like these robots, for instance, well, you know, even with this one, okay, like this trade that I'm in right now, the way that I got filled, it's correct. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that I took it in a spot where it was a little bit messy, and I used a market order, and I ended up getting one tick higher than I thought I was going to. Then, you know, that could have stopped out earlier. It's kind of funny, but the way that the E-mini has been moving lately, you can get situations quite frequently where one tick matters. And that's one of the things that I've been seeing with some of my robots here is there's these situations where like a difference of one tick between when the sim thought that it would get it and where the backtest thought that it would get it ends up ruining the expectancy of the system. Is helpful to attempt on, well, we should be careful. I was just reading this tweet earlier by Discovery Trading Group, and they were saying single biggest issue we see among aspiring retail traders is the insistence on trade-by-trade analysis and execution to reveal evidence of prowess or failure. In the professional world, these considerations are always applied to groups of occurrences. I don't know what they were responding to with Gary said here, but... Oh. Look beyond just the results when analyzing your trades. Technical analysis only studies winning results and believes the winner is always the most likely or only outcome. We need to study alternative histories. I see. Okay, that was a little different, but they still didn't get much out of it. They kind of like recouped a little bit and then smashed back down, but it still didn't break it. Okay. So that caused a lot more volume in the micro than it did in the ES. But you can see the volume is coming out of it in this chart, right? Come on. Okay, good. Let it ride. Was that the first one on that account? No, it was the second one. The first one, I lost 2 ticks on it. Look at how hard it snaps back, though. Given that Texas is not participating in trading, yeah, I don't know. I mean, did they really have a significant impact? Like, I don't know, man. Okay, well, that pulled back like way harder than I wanted, so it still being a pill. Now, there was more overall market volume in that, but they didn't extend down that much. Okay, then they come back down. Well, of course, you can get 2 points on RTY. Oof, okay. Nope, guess not. Still a decent amount of volume trading through in here, though. Despite the incursion. I don't know, man. So they're back out there and threatening. Yeah, okay. They threaten a reversal now. They're going to retrace that whole thing back up to like 39? Two minutes after the open, you had your deal. Oh, I get that's right. You're trading RTY. I can't keep track of you direction. Yeah, good. Listen, just fair warning. If you're trying to keep track of my trades and follow me or whatever the deal is, you're going to have a rough time because I make it intentionally difficult to do that. Well, Ace should be if Ace did not buy at 39, 36, I'll be surprised. Oh, you're still short? Oh, I see, because you're trying to trail it. Okay. This recovery looks good. The buy side liquidity looks good. Of course, I still would like to see 39.40 or so. So really 39 for the technical side of it is like 38.50, which like we're touching. So like we retraced what would have been single prints. Like that whole downside excursion retraced. And then 40 is a spot where there's a big order at. Well, not a big order, but slightly more liquidity. It's a dead cat bounce until proven. How can you describe your signal for going long for someone new to the channel? I don't necessarily. So if I can explain, every order has an impact on the market, and the more orders you put in there, the larger the market impact. And some of the edges that I'm trading off of are very, very tight and small. And so if I were to have, how many people do we have watching me right now? 52. So if like 52 micro contracts all of a sudden came in long trying to follow me, that would be a problem. So I don't say when I'm getting in and out all the time, right? Sometimes I'm thinking out loud because I'm trying to kind of read what I'm seeing in the volume and stuff. Like I said, we moved up pretty good and the buy side liquidity still looks really good. So this looks like a good potential for it to continue through. But did I say, okay, I'm going to buy it 39, 34.50? No. I'm kind of looking at it. I'm clicking. If you're watching the screen, maybe you'll see me get into it, but you'll be like 3 to 5 seconds late, right? I don't mean for the actual trade asking about your system. Still, so I don't even necessarily want to explain the edge that I'm looking at to try and take it. But here's what I will give you. So if you want to trade the way that I am, I would go and read a lot of stuff about market microstructure and about order flow and know as much about the news as possible. Because essentially what I'm doing is I'm trying to read the news to get an overall idea about what the macros are doing at the moment. And then I'm using liquidity and I'm looking for specific things in liquidity to take trades, but I don't necessarily say what I'm looking for in the liquidity all the time. I would also say that it's very discretionary, so each situation is a little different, which does mean that sometimes I can be really inconsistent. And so this is where I say, like, don't necessarily want people to trade like me. If I am doing well, I don't want other people to come in and increase the impact of the trade and possibly reduce the expectancy of that system. And if I'm not doing well, then I definitely don't want you to trade it and lose money, right? But what I do want you to do is to be able to watch the approach to trading. And when I say the approach to trading is this. This is competitive. This is competitive. What I know and what I trade is the advantage that you have over other traders. And in order to be a good trader and a profitable trader, you have to be better at it than everybody else. And that changes the way that you approach the thing. You can't just go and read a book that everybody else has read and expect to be better than all of them, right? Do you smell what I'm stepping in? There you go. I talk about it. Watch this before buying trading education. There you go. Anyone else remember when Texas politicians were roasting California for rolling blackouts last summer? That's funny. I mean, it's funny, but then at the same time, so we're talking about like how much of that was like, you know, because of this. I'm sure that we're going to see the story play itself out, but I would expect that no matter what kind of a policy that they were pursuing in Texas, that they would be having problems right now because you're getting an unprecedented snowstorm that they literally never get snow, you know? Anyways. Plum says advantage over Ace. Haha. Well, Ace tends to have some really good trades, and I keep talking to him about it. And I mean, he hasn't showed me results lately. I'm sure that he's had some periods lately that are not the best, but he has shown me results that he's made some money over sometimes, and he's built a pretty big account. It's really quite impressive. So yeah, I do kind of think sometimes I'll look at it and I know the spot where Ace is possibly looking at getting in, and I'd be like, oh well, it's definitely going to hit that, and so I get in before it, and then it will get up there and he's like, no, I'm still thinking about taking it short. You think my account is big? Well, that's when you had showed it to me, it was like you had started with the bare minimum and you had built it up to a few thousand. I was like, that's really good.
Block sell.
I don't know. The thing that you'll find interesting about Ace, because he does share his entries and exits. I wouldn't necessarily do that, but he doesn't do it like I was making a size joke. Oh, I missed it. Oh, ouch. That totally went over my head. Oh, that's right, the thumbnail. Thank you, the thumbnail. I didn't change it. Let's change the thumbnail. Okay, wait. Edit. Where do I change the thumbnail? I don't even know where I do it. Okay, here it is. Thumbnail. Change. It's still going. There we go. Okay, what do you think about that? I am slow. It's an ADHD thing. You know, like, you know that group of friends and they're a little rough and they're constantly making fun of each other, and it's like if they start making fun of you, that's actually endearing and that means that they like you and stuff. I do terrible in that kind of a social situation because everything, I'm always have to sit and think about it for a second, and then once I actually hear it, it's like I don't know how to react to that. Oh, this is looking good. They're gonna bust through there at 45 now. Like, this thing is free for takeoff. Cleared for takeoff. It's the meth. No, it's the... I told you it was a trap. I don't know, man. There's that. It's going to be super interesting to see if they break the high. Okay, so they shied away from it off of first test, and there was 1,000 contracts at 39.45 again. But I'm more interested to see what they do. They touched 39.47. Yeah, I should have been looking long instead of getting stopped out. I don't... But I understand why you did it. Do you find reading hard with ADHD? Yes. Oh, man. It's not like I can read quite well. Like in terms of like how fast can you read? Yeah. But then what'll happen is I'll be reading And then I'll read something and I'll start thinking about that and keep reading through it. And then all of a sudden I realize that I read like half a page without actually reading, remembering any of what was being said. So then I go back and reread it. That happens all the time. Then the other thing that'll happen is I'll be like, oh, okay, let me just stop for a second and absorb that. And then I'll sit and daydream for like 5 minutes and then realize that I stopped reading. Or the other one, and the real problem that I'll get is like, I'll get into reading and be like, okay, this is pretty good. This is like, we're getting into the stuff that I want to know. And then I start getting sleepy. Because if I'm just sitting there and I'm not like directly interacting with something, like writing or whatever, I get sleepy. Sometimes you even see it on the stream, right? So yes, reading is difficult. My signal from my CME guy who texts me when they throw the switch, right? Early signs of no, it's all ADHD. I fall asleep from reading all the time. Yeah, is it just like a normal thing, I guess? But there are situations like at church, man. Like when I was a missionary, I tried really hard and I was able to like not fall asleep in church. But then since I've gotten older, it's literally like you sit in a warm room and all of that. Like there's no way I'm not falling asleep. Okay, so they busted through at 39.45. Did you see the stop run? Almost 400 contracts or so stopping out above 39.45 in the micros. 39.45 held in ES because there's still a big iceberg there, but they are eating through it. I think there's probably still some icing there and stuff, but it looks like they're going to go. I think it has to do with... No, so... Here's such a welcome break. I don't know what you mean. Anyways, there's something with the chemicals in your brain that deal with attention. There's also have to do with alertness. So what can happen is you expend all of the energy trying to focus and pay attention, and you don't get anything out of it. So it doesn't stimulate the secretion of more neurotransmitters. And so the harder you try to pay attention to something that is just boring, the harder it becomes to stay awake. You should have stuck to your first no. I think you have above average IQ. Probably not. I do think I took an IQ test once, but I don't think that I have the results. But my recollection was that they ranked me as slightly above average. That was like one that they gave us in school or something. Seth is better than average. Oh, thanks. Thank you, guys. I'm a new, so you know what I've been watching this past week, over the weekend. Because I don't know, man. I had time to like play games or something and stuff like that, but whenever I get into it, it's like I don't feel any motivation to play anything. But I've been watching Gundam. So I watched Gundam Unicorn, which was really good. So when they do these anime, they call them original video animations. It's like it'll be like an hour or maybe a 90-minute episode. So it's like each one is like a movie, but it's like a, an 8-part movie series or something like that. And they're really, really well produced. So it's just like robots shooting at each other, and like there's lots of robot gore and stuff for 90 minutes. It was just great. It was great. And in that particular Gundam, there's this big thing about a new evolved humans that have evolved to better live in outer space called new, quote unquote, new types. So am I Seth a new type? Probably not. They gave me a 150. Really? No, they did not. That would put you in like the top 1% of all. That would put you like on par with like the highest. Isn't the highest ever like a 160 or 170? Last time I took an IQ test, I sent a caregiver. The whole IQ test thing is interesting because they make you take an IQ test to go into the military, but then that's like illegal to like give people jobs based on IQ tests, right? It's like, so the government knows that it matters, but they don't want anybody else to take advantage of that because it would result in larger disparities in society. I have a dog that it's you think that they're gonna go? So they're hitting into 45 again, 400 contracts. Is it just gonna ice again, like 1,000 contracts? Yeah, this time they're gonna take it slowly. I think they realize that this guy at 45 doesn't necessarily want to push it down. Never mind, 263 is the highest. Wait, really? No. I think that if I took it, that I would probably get like a 105. 105, 110. Because I do think that I have a higher IQ than the average person. But I also think that the ADHD kind of holds you back a little bit. So it's like, oh, well, if you didn't have ADHD, maybe you'd be like 130 or 140, but you just end up being 110. And that was what I remember. Like, maybe it's all in my head and it's a false memory, but I seem to remember taking a test and looking at it and it being like, oh, yeah, like on these things I do really, really good. But then on this thing I did poorly because it was too difficult to do with the ADHD. IQ tests are only useful to no, there's a high degree of correlation between your IQ score and your performance attainment in life. Unfortunately. There's no way, man, you're comfortable I don't know. I don't really think that it's so much the base IQ. I think it has more to do with what you have spent all of your time doing and what interests you. So the thing that makes me weird is the extremely high interest in the financial markets and the desire to absorb every piece of information I can from all corners of that space. See, most people, they come in, they don't like finance. They like money. They want to make money. That's why they want to trade, is because they think that trading might be easier money than other things. And then they think, okay, well, all I'm going to do is just learn a lot about charts because that's the only thing that matters to me is technical analysis. So if I know everything about technical analysis, then I should be able to get good at trading. And they don't look at the other stuff because they don't care about it. And then if like somebody comes along with more advanced stuff, it's like, oh, heck no. Because the reason that they're in there to begin with is because it's easy, right? But I'm like, I want to know everything. And if it's like really complicated, because to be honest, some of this market microstructure math goes like completely over my head, especially when you get into some of the probability theory, like the stuff that I didn't learn in school. I really should have taken probability statistics sort of stuff. But man, what college level math, when I got into like, I had to take calculus 3 and then I had to take linear differential equations, and that linear differential equations class was so effing hard because it was like every calculus problem that you had ever taken in calculus 1 and 2, and then you have to do it across the series of equations with like 10 variables in it. you know? Anyways, so I kind of shied away from the math classes after that because I was like, okay, I think I've reached my limit. But I'm interested in all of those things. And so here you come in and I know a lot about the financial markets. It might seem, because all I do is read that stuff for the past 10 years. And then I'm pretty also, because you're ADHD, you get a pretty good, you do a pretty good job at the filtering. I maxed at Calc 2. Yeah. Calc 3 was so... The thing that made those classes so hard, especially for me, was that they started involving multiple dimensions, right? They used to just be, okay, you only need to integrate over X and Y. But then they started saying, okay, now we're going to introduce a Z and you find the volume of this solid. And, ugh. Oh, look, there's air cages. So there was somebody in here earlier and I had mistaken them with you, air cages, and they were kind of trolling. I got rid of them. No, GameStop is dead, man. Where are they at? Where are we at on that stuff? Heading down today. It's really weird, to be honest with you.
Block cell.
To go back and read so this morning, and somebody even came in and asked me about it, and they're like, what do you guys think about this and this? And somebody had posted a due diligence report, and it involved this thing to do with a hedge, with an ETF and everything else. And they're like, Seth, are you not going to give me credit? Well, Mahdi, so here's the thing. He was kind of saying, I think it's going to end, but you were only just saying it because it was like in a bubble. You didn't know that Robinhood was going to stop trading. And the thing is that if Robinhood had not stopped trading, they would have hit 1,000, no doubt in my mind. So you were kind of right, but I wouldn't let it go to your head because you kind of got lucky. Anyways, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, it's just crazy to me though. How many people over there on that subreddit are still 100% committed to this? When I really believed, and I got a lot of things wrong. It was all like teeny tiny little things in here and there where it's like, hey, we keep saying like sometimes the difference between a good trader and a bad trader and a good trader is just teeny tiny little things. It's just the little thing here and there. This little thing you believe that's not true, and this little thing, Well, anyways, because people are too stupid and ignorant, yeah. But anyways, I thought that, okay, the FINRA numbers come out, and if the FINRA numbers confirm the S3 numbers and say that the shorts have mostly covered, then it's going to be at the end, and it will go back to where it was, and that is not happening. The people on the Wall Street Bets subreddits are a large portion of those people are completely clueless. It's like they didn't even know that happened. I saw a guy up $1 million and he said he's never selling it. Oh, well, I don't know. That's crazy. Always a few losing days away from quitting and getting a real job. Well, I mean, I think for day trading, you always want to have a real job anyways, or other sources of income. If only to have something to force you to go outside. We didn't even get a dead cat bounce. It literally flatlined in GameStop.
Block cell.
It really did, didn't it? It was like it just died down. Well, I mean, actually, there was get dead cat bounces in GameStop. Like this, yes, on Friday, that was a dead cat bounce. There's been like 4 dead cat bounces, right? They keep trying to pump it up, and it can't get above 60. So like, I don't know who's doing this, but it seems to me that there are some people in GameStop that are just in denial about reality at this point. Oh, by the way, I noticed this a while, but I didn't call it out. Silver and gold recovered their loss significantly. So even though the dollar did not come back down. Zoom out to one day and look at this. I mean, it's puny compared to everything else, right? I get what you're saying. I can't say I'm surprised about GameStop. Well, I don't know. So here's the other thing that I don't understand is that everybody comes and looks at GameStop and they're like, yep, it went up and then it went right back down. And like, I'm not surprised, it's over. Or that it fell back down. Like, did anybody think that it was going to stay up there? Nobody thought it was going to stay up there, right? Everybody knew that it was squeeze the shorts out and then get out. And that's what happened. But the weird thing about it was that not everybody realized that had happened until it had been like a week. And so now all of the smart money got out up there at the top. And now you've just got a bunch of stupid bag holders that like have no clue what's going on and still think that the shorts have not been. Yeah, thanks for the silver update. That's part of why I made that video that I posted on Sunday, because I think that a lot of these people are staying in their GameStop longs off of theories that are just misinformation, frankly. What, the GameStop one day? Well, if you look at like this one, you get that sort of a thing, right? So this is where I'm like, I think they should go back to 20. Maybe it could be fairly valued at 30, but after a move like that, it should go back down further than it started. So, ooh, look at that. Okay, well, I'm glad I got out of that the way that I did. So, after I switched there, I made a little bit of money. So now when we're watching this come back down, we find out how many of the people that were just speculative longs trying to chase the momentum, right? Here in the E-mini, we still want to see if like the liquidity is good down here. We're still getting like trading like 600s. So thank you for linking that video, Win. So it was another, when I stopped the stream yesterday, I was like, oh, I didn't link the video. But then I looked at the stats and I was like, oh, you guys all watched it already anyways. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, fundamentally at $50, GameStop is overvalued. Yeah. Well, remember, it was $20 before, right? And I do think that the situation has improved. But I don't know if that means it's worth $50. I think it's worth more than $20. But order flow wise, after a move like that, you would expect it to come all the way back, and if not, go lower before it stabilizes and gets back to its real value. Okay, so that was a pretty ugly down move. They're kind of slowing down. They could. They might try and flip back up. I don't know. Brandon went short again. Is he going to make more out of it? Now, this is where it gets interesting to me. is my robots did not actually take that many trades. I thought that these would get really screwed up today. They didn't. In fact, this one didn't take anything. There might be issues with that one. That one like never takes anything ever. So I don't know what the deal is with that one. There might be an issue in that one that's preventing it from ever taking trades, even though it doesn't backtest. Well, at the moment, it's looking like the volume fell apart, but it's holding a higher low. If someone is down 90%, might as well hold 0. Why? Yeah, I covered that one in my video because it is kind of like, well, what's another $100 to you if you lost $1,000 or whatever, I suppose. But how much you lost has no bearing on whether it's going to go down more or not, So it's a logical fallacy to stay in the trade based off of how much you've already lost. You should stay in the trade because it's a good trade. Okay, so there was another pretty good flood of volume coming in short. It's a sunken cost fallacy. Yeah. Buffett Berkshire set to unveil new confidential stick today. Yay! Dutch government ordered to lift illegitimate pandemic curfew by Hague Court. What? Oh, that's interesting. Natural gas in the Midwest is just taking off. I guess you might want to hold out for the Hail Mary miracle pump. Yeah, but so the issue with that kind of a trade is that you are looking for something to happen that you have that nobody has the ability to really accurately forecast, right? This is the same thing with Bitcoin. It's like nobody has the ability to accurately forecast when it's going to pump and when it's going to dump and the right time to get in and so forth. I mean, I can show you when it's overvalued and undervalued, but like, hey, maybe next time it comes along and it says that Bitcoin is a buy, Bitcoin just falls apart and it never recovers again. Like, that's a possibility. And here, just like it's possible here that even though my indicator says that it's massively overvalued, if you get a bubble that involves big companies buying it, then like they can continue to buy it regardless of what it says, right? Well, the dollar remains high. The indexes turned back down. I really should have gone short on this. Like when I exited, I probably should have just turned right around and gotten short at 39.34. And I think I would be fairly happy with it. But I don't know if Ace was in a position anymore, was he? I think that him not saying means that he went to go and make breakfast. Okay, well, we have the new thumbnail on. Now is a good time to go and look. Did it increase the number of viewers? No, we're still at 50. Still at 50. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . I don't know. When I look at this, I'm like, well, that's a pretty good sell. I'm still a little skeptical about the structure below us and if we could really completely fall apart. But I'm also a little apprehensive about buying it here. The quite a bit of volume came out there. Happened so quick. You know, and the way that it happened really suggests to me that the volume that we're seeing is just day traders. Like what are the big reasons that funds should be moving stuff around? Well, the dollar moved up today. It's curious to me that the dollar moved up so much it really hurt gold and silver, but then gold and silver took off anyways. That's interesting. The move in the dollar seems to be due primarily to the euro, by the way. Primarily due to the euro. So there's that flow. One flow was the concern over China sanctioning U.S. defense companies and preventing them from getting rare earth resources. So are those reasons for really big players to really be like completely repositioning here? Well, we should probably flip around there. You getting pwned? Yeah, this isn't a good environment to get too married to a trade, is it? This is where I got out, so like, you know, we could go short here again, but it's at the moment it's kind of suggesting long to me right now, right? No, it wasn't air cages. It was like air Moran or something like that. It was air something. What was it again?
Block buy.
Treasury's a big old buy at 136 even. It was Air Max. He was using the name Air Max. It was Salim. It was Salim, and now he's Plums, I think. One day will we have the possibility of processing power to predict the future? Is that your question? Probably not. Although I do kind of wonder what we're going to learn once you get quantum computers doing lots of stuff. Maybe apparently he is. Nah, I think there's that other competing YouTube stream. I hear they're really big fans of me over there. Air Cages says, I thought I had crazy fans. You should. Air Cages has been good. He's been around since the beginning, too. Hope you're doing well with all the cryptocurrency stuff. I mean, you've been in that stuff, so. By the way, let's go take a look and see if they've moved. How have they moved? Oops, I want to go to my watch list because I want to see the Dogecoin and the Garda coins and so forth. 0.258. At one point, they were at like 0.35. I was like, what? What? But no, it'll be. They might need to kind of consolidate a little bit before they make another run in garlic coin. I guess that makes it a good pullback to buy. I don't know. Apparently, with quantum stuff, we can affect events in the past from the present in a quantum scale. Yeah, so... Oh, this stuff with quantum mechanics is so bizarre. So what they found with quantum mechanics was that the mere act of measuring the particle would change the way that it behaved, is kind of what they're talking about. And then when you get things with quantum entanglement, yeah. Crypto has been crazy. I never bought Dodge. You seen all this stuff about there's like a $1 billion Dogecoin wallet? And I'm like, how does that guy ever plan on taking it? He probably plans on holding it. He really thinks that Dogecoin will become the currency of the future. And he's just waiting for 30 years. Waiting for 30 years when the inflation of Dogecoin isn't a big deal anymore. And then he will own so much of it that... Oh, Brandon made his target, by the way. So that's interesting. I'm mad that Joseph and Squire didn't take trades. Because I'm pretty sure that they were like... that they would have had some. Like if I go back and back test it, it will take trades today, I bet you. But I'll pull it over here. Brandon took 2 and made $984. And then Indy took a couple. Well, how many did he take over here? Because I know that he took one that was bad. Okay, he took 3 and 2 of them were good. So, and these are on micros, but if we were to scale them up to the same amount, that's a really good day. That's an above average day. So that's why I was saying it's curious to me. Well, ultimately, I had all this stuff where I was screwing around at the beginning, but then when I said, okay, let's switch to more serious, and then I was able to pull something out of that. But I would still say I struggled today. So it's interesting to me that the robots overall ended up doing really well, even though I struggled so much. Especially since it's on the downside and they tend to not do as well on the downside, right? Oh, now Ace is back, see? They were wondering if you had gone short again, because we got a pretty good short. I don't know if this is like you buy it now and it goes back up, or what. Year long, went to the moon. Well, we got up to 45. I should have taken that so much earlier, man. I let it come back to 40. So I let it come back 5 points on me. But I didn't hold it all the way back, so. Like if I come back and... hold on, let me fix it here. Yeah, there it is. There's the ones that I took on the more serious accounts. So took 2 losses. There's a win that cancels that one out, and then 2 small losses, and then a $40 winner. So overall, it becomes $32.50. I really think that today should have been a $100 day for me, but whatever. Mistakes were made. And you add these ones where I was working around, and you get this sort of bullshit. It's like, what was I thinking? Well, I was doing it both directions, so that was just like bad calls, I guess. The thing that's weird to me is, what was it that made me sit down and say, okay, I haven't been doing well on my general. Oh, you know what it was? First of all, I actually made a couple of ticks on this one. Yeah. So all of a sudden, it was like, okay, I think I have a better feel of what it's doing, and I'll try one or two. And these ones were small. If I had taken like a full stop, I probably should have switched back over, right? My prediction is we're going to hit a 5 trillion crypto market cap before we crash again. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the thing is that we're like so overdue for a crash. I think at the moment we are at very strong risk for blockchain congestion induced crash. You remember when we kind of had that after the 2017 crash? Would be rising up, and then we're like, there was like those blockchain attacks and stuff. Now on the split side, Bitcoin Cash continues to be struggle, and a lot of these other coins have surpassed it, but it's been like hitting up against resistance and is maybe wants to break out. So they can take 80% of its top of year, but why should it be this time? I don't know. Like that's the real thing, is that it seems to me like you will get to this point where the money's all in, and well, not that the money's all in, but that like the chances of the speculators puking is higher than the chances of the speculators coming in, and it's always kind of hit that point. But then they come in and they say, companies are going to buy Bitcoin. Well, I don't know how many companies are actually buying Bitcoin out there like that. But if they were going to, it probably could move up Bitcoin. But then it comes back to this other thing, which is like, okay, they're all doing it through Grayscale Trust. Like they're not using it. What are they going to do when it comes down? And one of these things is like, okay, if Bitcoin really declines, how big of a hit will Tesla take? And will other people look at this and say, nope, you know what? I don't want that on my balance sheet. You say big crash is 90. Yeah, I say like 80 to 90%. Like we're overdue for an 80 to 90% crash. But that's based on my metrics. So, and the thing where it gets interesting is this stuff right here. Like, yeah, it was right here. Right here was when Elon Musk kind of was toying with it, right? So it looks to me like Elon Musk came in at just the right times to keep it going. So when you come back over to here, it looked like it was about to fall out. I don't know. There was this weekend where there was like this crazy gap up too, right? Yeah, it was down in here. There's been a lot of big weekend moves too, by the way. That's another thing that we'll watch for. Moves in lighter liquidity over the weekend should always... CJ says a big argument that I see is it's a commodity. Well, yeah, it's not a commodity like gold. Gold's value has been accepted for millennia. We're not all just going to change to Bitcoin and get rich. But the question I would ask is why does gold why has it been accepted as a monetary standard? Right? Why does it have value? So what do you use gold for other than transacting. I mean, there's a few uses for it. There's more uses for silver, apparently. But mostly it's just used as a currency, right? So if nobody used gold as, like a government's used gold, right? If that had never happened, would it be worth as much? And you go and you look at what it's worth. It's just, I don't know. Too many reasons to type in YouTube. We're going to see more and more companies follow Tesla. I think they're nuts. I really think they're nuts, but I don't know how many people are actually crazy enough to follow them. It's probably a good number of people could do that. For sure. But it kind of becomes dangerous at that point, right? That's why I'm saying, like, okay, but what if there's like a decline? You got all these companies that we're in, and what happens to them? Do they hold through it? Or like good example being this MSTR nut job, right? What happens when that falls apart? What happens to that company? Because I don't think that there will be a company after that. No. Crypto is going to be as regular as credit debit cards down the road. Millions that you will use it that don't have access to a bank right now. It won't be a Bitcoin. Not in its current form. Bitcoin in its current form is... You can't use it like that. It's just too expensive. Seeing the richest man on the planet pumping penny crypto should tell you enough. Yeah, I think so too. It is kind of like, I don't know if you want to like here's the thing is, like, if you're already, like, I'm looking at it from the perspective of you were already in the possibility of large companies coming in and starting to buy Bitcoin. I think is a good enough reason to try and let it ride, and you have your stop out there or whatever the deal is. But if you're not have a position, do you get in at 50K? And I don't think you do. Because here the risk of a crash is so great, and it appears that because of a number of factors, including how overbought we were in general and the fact that companies are getting involved and things like that, if we have a decline, I think that it will be more brutal. It would be even worse than the 2017 one. Be even worse than the Mt. Gox one. Because again, it's like, oh, okay, you add Bitcoin to your portfolio and everybody thinks that's good and buys your stock and it's healthy for your stock price. Okay, but then what happens when Bitcoin crashes? What happens to your stock price? And if your stock price gets torn down by Bitcoin significantly, that's the end of that. Nobody's going to touch that again. You know what I mean? And then you have, an institutional... now you have a force that is actively pushes against the adoption. Now you have a real problem, right? No, it can't. It can't. So you're saying it just has to be accepted by other humans? You can't give it to them. You can't. Here's my challenge to you. Here, wait. I'll give you. I'll make one up. Okay, I make one up. Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to do all sorts of funky stuff. Though I might have to open up a different web browser to do it. Hopefully. fine be that way. Hmm. How should I do this? I want to do something, but I to like set it up, I feel uncomfortable setting it up on stream. So I'll set it up tomorrow. But so here's my challenge to you. Be ready, and tomorrow you can try and send me some Bitcoin. So we say we just need to get it to be accepted by other humans. Okay. I will accept Bitcoin. I will set my wallet up and you guys can all send it to me tomorrow, okay? And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You try sending it to me and you will see the problem. Like literally, as soon as you try to actually use Bitcoin, all of a sudden the problem is like staring you in the face and it's like, why the hell is anybody buying this? Because it literally cannot do what they want it to do. Now, the first few times someone tried to use a credit card, no, you don't understand what I'm saying, Ace, at all. I'm not saying that it's too hard or confusing. I mean, for you to set up a wallet and everything, I guess we could just do it here. Like, let's see here. I have to kind of decide which one I want. I think I'll just use an Electrum. Yeah, Electrum. Let's just use an Electrum one. Just because it's unwieldy now doesn't mean that it will be unwieldy. Yes, it does, actually. We'll make a Segwit wallet. Hold on. Okay. Oh, I hate that. I hate that thing. Did it do that? Okay. Okay, here we go. Have a wallet. Create a new address. Okay, here we go. Here's the address. Okay. So here's the address. There's my Bitcoin address. Now, here's my challenge to you. Send me a Satoshi. Send me one, like the smallest amount that you can. Send me one Satoshi of Bitcoin. The plan is to send Seth so much Bitcoin that Seth becomes a BTC maximalist. Don't you think that at some point crypto will be I think that at some point blockchain technology will be usable, but not Bitcoin. So I think you're misunderstanding my argument here. No offense. So I just generated an address right there. All right. So you can send something to that address. Okay. Pay to, and then that's all you got to do is you say, here's the address that I want to send it to, and here's the amount, and then you click send, or you click pay, I guess, and it will send it to me. And that's as complicated as it is. So is Bitcoin itself very difficult to use? No, it seems like no. To me, it seems like no. Now, when you get into things like, managing your wallet and backing it up and re-importing it and stuff, but those are just command line commands and stuff. That's not too hard. You'd probably be able to figure that out if you really sat down and looked at it. But can you actually send me Bitcoin? That's the question. Let's all remember the day Seth tried to trick me. I'm not trying to trick you, and I mean, oh yeah, okay, Ace. If you send me a Satoshi, I'll send you no. No, if you send me a Satoshi, I'm keeping it. No. Okay, $1 is 9,110 Satoshis. One Satoshi is literally $0.00048,214. Okay? So you're not even going to send me an amount that equals a cent. You're going to send me less than a cent. Okay? So that's my challenge to you guys. You have till tomorrow. You'll have till tomorrow. We'll see how many I've received. Okay? We'll see how much Bitcoin I've received. You just send me a Satoshi to the address that I posted above. I had 300 Bitcoins, right? Yeah. But you have no Bitcoins right now, right? So that's your first problem, right? Is that you're going to have to go to Coinbase and you're going to have to set your account up and buy some Bitcoin, right? That's not too big of a problem. But then they're going to say, okay, you want to send this to this location? And that's where the problem comes in. That's where the problem comes in. And you will see. You will realize you can't actually use it. Correct. I have not traded anything of value for Bitcoin, rocks, pre-feathers, coins, paper, money, credit card. Okay, so do it. You're not. You're over here and I'm over here. I'm trying to get you to come over, but I don't know what I got to say. Yes, I'm saying the fees are too high. Doesn't matter that it will eventually be easier. It's the challenge is not how difficult the technology is to use. The problem is that the technology itself sucks. I didn't know about those thinking fees. Yeah. So look, there's a way to look at this. It's called the memory pool. Man, what's the name of this guy's memory pool? Bitcoin memory pool. Jokinhoiniki.de. Okay, and this shows you the unconfirmed transactions. And this right here tells you how many Satoshis it is. Pending transaction fee in Bitcoin and megabyte. Okay, so if we were to just look at that right now, so it looks like we've got as high as 3 Bitcoin. Wait, what? Is that really right? Or is that how much in Bitcoin? Here, we'll do it in Satoshis. I guess we're doing okay. So in order to guarantee that your transaction gets sent, you have to pay 100 Satoshi, which is 4 cents, I think. I wish I was a cool enough trader to just let it run and come back and harvest my 45 points, but I moved my stop to break even at 2 points. Yep. I don't know if you still want to hold it short anyways, but if I want to send $1 billion in Bitcoin and pay $20 in fees, that's pretty dope. Yeah, it is. Until the the pool completely fills, then you really have a problem, right? When you get back to like it was here, if I can show you everything. Okay, so these points right here, do you see these points here and here? You literally couldn't use the blockchain. So we're getting close. We're to right there right now. So I just have confidence that humans will work it out. So the crypto is at least as easy as Venmo. But it's not that it will be easy. It will be that Venmo and PayPal will still be better. So here's the thing, is like, would you use the coin? Would you use the coin if it cost you $20 and you knew that it might be a month before the transaction went through? Lightning fixes this. Yeah, that's what they said 3 years ago. It hasn't happened. I remember the point at which Lightning was, they were kind of getting excited about Lightning. They're like, hey, it's working and stuff. And then they had a couple of setbacks and everybody forgot about it. I really think Lightning is dead, but I could be wrong. It's not the cryptocurrency itself. It's Bitcoin. It's not using the blockchain to push transactions. It's basing a currency off of this system, right? So you get two main issues when you come into basing the currency off of this system. Number one is that Bitcoin has been crippled essentially by the developers. They won't let the block size increase. They can't increase the number of transactions that get pulled in every time that it goes through. And so you can't realistically use Bitcoin to, like, you can't send me a Satoshi. You're going to pay more in fees than you're going to pay to send it to me. That's the first thing. And then you have to pay a high enough fee to get put into the next block. And you can see there that only like 1,000 people can get into the next block. All right. So how does that work when you want to have like millions of people using it, right? The privacy aspect is a big sell. Well, so with Bitcoin, there's no privacy, right? They can see every wallet, and supposedly the US government already knows who owns every wallet somehow. Anyways, and then the second issue is that it's deflationary, which means that when an economy declines, those declines become deeper because of Bitcoin, instead of in our economy where we have something that is counter-cyclical to stop declines from completely wiping out the whole market. But I hope it will change. Well, but here's what's going to happen, Ace, is that the United States government is going to come out and they're going to make a cryptocurrency that is basically the dollar. And that's still the same full faith and credit of the United States that backs every dollar, except for that you can use cryptocurrency technology to create a wallet and send it to each other without having to use a bank. And that's what's going to happen. And then at that point, what does Bitcoin really have? Like, you just see, everybody thinks that the value of Bitcoin is the technology. It's not, because anybody can take that technology and use it for their own coin. The value in it is, why would you use Bitcoin as opposed to crypto US dollar? Because you don't like the dollar. Okay. Good luck with that next recession. So it didn't work out so well this recession. The big attraction for a lot of folks was it had nothing to do with the government and can't be taxed. It is taxed. The only way that you can ever, because if you can't use it, if you can't actually use it for transactions, and right, and the only way to exchange it for fiat currency is to come over to Coinbase and transfer it. You do have to pay dollars for it. You do. So when you put all of that together, what is really making cryptocurrency rise? It is 99% speculation. And when a move is based purely on speculation, what's going to happen as soon as they're all in? Now, maybe the audience of people that could buy it has just gotten a lot larger, but at some point they're going to run out of people. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't make any sense. You realize, oh, you can't use this. This can't actually be the technology of the future. The US dollar is going to come in and supplant it. If they're really going to try and like free people from the iron grip of government fiat, then the US government can just ban it if they want, just like they did in China. Big, huge stampede for a small door. Yep. Oh, yes. And by the way, everybody will say, oh, you need to go and put it in a cold wallet. So, yeah, go put it in your cold wallet and then see how easy it is to get back over to the exchange and sell it. Oh, man. So, you can't use it. There's like fundamental problems. Like, it is a bubble because the fundamental theory that everybody is using to buy Bitcoin is objectively false. It literally cannot support being a world currency that is actually used. As soon as people start using it, the whole thing falls apart. You're going to go short again. I kind of looked at that little excursion lower again, and I'm thinking, maybe I should sell it. But, there's still like kind of just that prices from last week, right? Yeah. So if they were to get below 39.15, or really 3,900 is where I would really start to be like, okay, something's up. But for me, it's time to go. Let's see here. Difficult market as snowstorms. Black oil supply. Is that the correct way to say it? Enjoyed the banter. Yeah, always fun when we start getting into the cryptocurrency stuff. I gave you my address up there. Send me some Satoshis. Send me half a cent. Stay profitable, friends.